Hello, this is Pixie doing another video. So just doing sort of things I touched upon, looked at, and I think sort of MGTOW stuff. So the first thing I think the mistake people make, I think maybe the females, is that if men like kids, they would see their children as an asset, and they don't. Because they don't have any investment, or they don't get anything out of it really. I mean, it's lovely playing with kids, but it sets the barrier, and I think it's good for it's probably good that men don't get too involved, because they can't really discipline the children, and if they do, well, they could end up getting arrested and all sorts. And you can imagine that can also go against a case of abuse. You know, the partner says, tell them off, do this, do that, you know, you do the dirty work. And they say, well, I don't like that person, and then, you know, and then eventually it snowballs into something else. So you can't really have that, and you also don't necessarily want to be the babysitter. You can understand the inconvenience, like, oh, I need to go out, it's all right to leave the kids with you. But if you're just like the boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever the situation is, possibly not, because it's not necessarily. I mean, some people don't mind taking them out and going out for the day, getting to know them, but it's sorting out what is the relationship with them and the children, and they got to understand as well. You know, like you're dating their mum, and that you're kind of you know, it's okay to be friends. I don't want to sort of you know, tell you things that are not true or make you think things that are not true. So I think being honest with the children and how they feel, because they might say, look, you know, I've been here before or whatever, or if you notice some unusual behaviour with the kid, it might be a reflection of what's in the parent, like some toxic behaviour. I watch a lot of shows, and you just got to set your bar where you want it, and try to focus on staying at that level, because relationships and things like that are an investment. And there's a lot of scams at the moment, so I just, it's not so really important. Finance is probably more important to me at the moment, because it's going to be the bedrock for other things I do with my life. Oh, crap, I'm just going to get round him. It's just the way sometimes people do their park, really. But yeah, sort of toxic behaviour, you know, things to look at, sort of red flags, other red flags. You might not want to know the dating history of the woman, but if she sort of brings it up, why is that so important to you? And also, what she's telling you, you can't necessarily guarantee it's the truth. It could be the version of the truth she wants you to believe. So it's, you know, like how we was, you know, partners would be narcissists, ex-partners. Abusive, there'd be all these other things, but when they were dating with them, they were nice people and they enjoyed their company, and you know, they were sort of great in that sense. I guess the other problem with like social media and so on is that the people can still follow each other, and there's still that kind of close orbital relationship of sorts, and you know, it's just a bit like dodgy. But I think the main thing hitting home is men's perception of children, and that the relationship's a business. So you get to a point as a man, so I would say when you're in a financial position to go more serious, then that's probably a better move. But you know, obviously when you meet people, you fall into it's a bit of a different story. But ideally you want to get yourself a base of power, basically. I mean, if you've got no power base, how can you operate much? You just be floating along, basically. Other things that touched on are quite interesting, like mums are married to, well, daughters are married to their mums, you know, they want to be around all the time and stuff. It's not a good sign. It's where they've been sort of indoctrinated to a certain degree. And also any issues you've got in your relationship are, it's like you're dating both of them, basically. They will share information about you, and it's a bit odd, so you know, it's more than you need. And that's the thing is, men don't want stress. You know, the hair starts falling out, they start looking older, and also they don't want to be financially, they want to be wrecked. So that's why having crypto and stocks. I mean, do you need to share everything with your partner? Probably not. It's the problem is when you get married, you know, your finances don't have to get twined up to a certain degree. So I think people have just got fed up with marriage, and I think women see it as a kind of they're done dating sort of thing. Possibly, I don't know what they see it as actually. They might do it because their friends are doing it, but it's not really a part necessarily bolted to their road plan. There might be. But you have to have behaviour that are actually suitable for marriage. There's no point. There's no point getting married if you don't want to be a wife. It's just like, you know, him not wanting to be a husband, or him seeing it in a different light. I mean, different types of relationships do work, but they need an element of honesty there. So I think my roadmap is that I'm just sort money out, and at a later date, go abroad, go to one of these like dating things, and just see what happens, you know. And the other thing as well is that if women's averages in a different country in your perceptionally are above that, so if everyone looks like they're above average to me because, you know, their lifestyle, etc., like dancing, you know, they are more focused on marriage orientated. They're younger than me. You know, there's things that act as like plus ones on the average scale, and they don't mind. They, you know, basically sort of the fertility is a bonus, health and beauty is a bonus, and then it'd be like intelligence and personality, and also some other skills in the home. There's things that I'm, you know, I'm not necessarily brilliant at, but if they excel in it, then, you know, like cooking and other stuff, it'd be like, yeah, bonus. And then it's sort of just a takeaway from there. Sort of look at that takeaway, and then just take it from there. I mean, that's my plan, because I've looked at things. It's not really these dating apps and stuff. They're not worth my time. I want money, and then you got bots and things writing to you, and odd bots. And if anyone genuinely was writing to me, they were probably. You know, probably there's a filter in place, something that doesn't enable it just to easily reach across, or I'm just not what they're looking for. You know, when you can present yourself better in person than you can in photos. You might see that and you might think, judge that person based on a picture, when there's things like these micro expressions, behaviour patterns, how I sound, you know, everything really is. So you can have a greater impact, and maybe how I smell. You know, it depends how people their minds work, because they might be more sensitive to it. Might think that there might be an automatic attraction because of some genetic component you've got. So yeah, children are not assets in the dating market, only unless you've got children yourself, and then you feel that they could all get along. But even then, you've got to look at how expensive that's going to be, and that might set the sort of the situation for what kind of a relationship you have. If it's too expensive, you might not want to get married to that, because you might be giving up too much, and you know, it's just a kind of, is it worth that investment of time? So the other thing about, I think, compromising and setting new levels is that you have to take some responsibilities for stuff. So if someone's looking for this ideal man or whatever, then they need time out from all relationships, because if they're sort of still drifting along from one person to the next, they still got a pattern of behaviour that's not, they can't control unless they withdraw from it. Otherwise they suffer from cold feet, or they say they're in a serious relationship and they're still looking around, and all these other things might sort of pop up. And there's also people that think they can just, like, you know, as they say, they belong to the streets. They can just forget the past completely. And yes, you can to a certain degree, but you have to change the behaviour. You have to pull away from it. I mean, if you live in a city and what? The chap just as a U-turn. He didn't really actually bother to indicate, which is a bit weird. Yeah, I think if you're living in the town, people know you, all the ex-boyfriends are in the town, all that sort of stuff, then, you know, they can say, oh, she settled down with, you know, such and such. But you're still the talk of the town to them. They still have something over you in some way, and they're still reminders, you know, keep bumping into them. It's sort of like narcissism, like you got these male trophies or something. Where's he going? And also I think you get older as a bloke, is it important relationships, and you start thinking it's just too much hassle. But I think I've set something up. That's why it's more focused on what some people might see as a trophy wife, because they've got that value basically. Yeah, come on. That's it. There's a shortcut around here. We can go around this way. There we go. There's not really. I think it's, you know, if you basically have if you've kind of reserved yourself, then what you're doing that for? And I mean, you can always have fun. It's not saying, you know, that's a bad thing. I'm just saying you have to be responsible. And if you want to, you know, but basically, how do you learn to fall in love? Unless you value something. And if it's something you've always had, then you're not going to fall in love. You know, how can you fall in love? Basically, if you've been so intimate with so many people, and you're used to breaking up and things, you just kind of don't really have much feelings. It's going to be quite a difficult thing. You might have to accept you can't. That you go too far and you can't. I mean, it's a bit like you say, women can fall in love with their children because it's a new experience. But if they try to fall in love with loads of other people's kids, they might end up becoming cold mothers, I guess. Because they won't want to take shit to a child, and they will be seeing the competition. Right, it's been so nice, have a great one, and speak soon, bye.